Chapter 1, A Man in a Hurry. Snow fell over the town of Brick Ridge like a soft blessing, though Samuel Hart did not feel blessed at all. He hurried down Main Street with his coat pulled tight, muttering to himself about the wastefulness, the clamor, and the unnecessary cheer of the season. Christmas lights blinked from every shop window, but Samuel's eyes did not linger on their glow. He carried a stack of folders under one arm, work papers, proposals, and the unfinished task that defined his days. Of all the months to be busy, he grumbled. Why must everyone slow down just when there's real work to be done? At 52, Samuel was known in town as a practical, serious man who believed Christmas had become little more than a distraction. Since losing his wife Claire years earlier, his heart had slowly closed itself off. He had no children, no nearby family, only his work, which he clung to with unusual devotion. He turned into his office building just as the church bells chimed 5 o'clock. Inside, his assistant Leah greeted him with her usual brightness.
Evening, Mr. Hart. We're heading out for the Christmas outreach at the community center. You're welcome to join us.
Well, thank you, Leah, but I have work to finish. Have a nice evening. She hesitated, concern flickering across her face.
You've been working late every night this week. Maybe some fresh air and fellowship would...
I said no, Leah, he snapped, then immediately softened his tone. I appreciate the offer, truly. Leah gave him a sympathetic smile.
All right, but if you change your mind, we'd love to have you.
But Samuel, he never changed his mind, especially about Christmas events. He retreated into his office, shutting the door behind him. It was quiet inside, and he found some comfort in that. He sat at his desk, turned on his desk lamp, and began flipping through contracts and budgets. Hours passed. The world outside grew darker, quieter. By midnight, Samuel stretched, rubbed his eyes, and stood to leave. As he reached for his coat, he heard a soft knock on the door. He frowned. Leah, did you forget something? The door creaked open, but it was not Leah. A man stood in the doorway, young, with dark hair, dressed in a simple tunic-like robe. His eyes were gentle, but piercing. Good evening, Samuel, the man said. Samuel's heart leaped. Excuse me? Who are you, and how did you get in here? My name is Nathan, the man replied calmly, and I came because you called out. I did no such thing. Nathan smiled faintly. Your heart called out, even if your lips did not. Chapter 2, The First Visit. Samuel stared at the man, unsure whether to demand answers or call security. But something about Nathan stilled him. The air in the room felt different, warm almost. What do you want? Samuel asked finally. Nathan stepped forward. To remind you of what you have forgotten. Tonight, I am your guide to the Christmas that you once knew. Samuel scoffed. I know everything I need to know about Christmas. Do you? Nathan tilted his head. Come, Samuel. Walk with me. Without touching Samuel, he motioned toward the door. The office lights flickered, and suddenly the room dissolved around them. The floor vanished, the ceiling faded, and Samuel felt himself lifted, not by force, but by light. When the light dimmed, he found himself standing on a quiet street, lined with small homes decorated with simple wreaths. A child's laughter echoed from somewhere nearby. Samuel's breath caught. I know this street. Yes, Nathan said. Your street, from long ago. A small boy burst out from one of the houses. Samuel at 7 years old. He was bundled in a thick coat, dragging a wooden sled behind him. His cheeks were rosy, his eyes bright with anticipation. Mom, young Samuel called. Hurry, the snow is perfect. Claire's laughter drifted from inside, the warm, tender voice of a mother who loved her family deeply. Samuel's hands trembled. I haven't heard her voice in years. His mother stepped out, carrying a small wrapped box.
Samuel, dear, before we sled down the hill, we're going to visit Mrs. Westfield. She's alone this Christmas.
But it's Christmas Eve, the boy protested.
That, she said with a smile, is exactly why we're going.
Young Samuel's expression softened. Even at 7, he felt compassion. He took his mother's hand without complaint, and the two walked toward a small cottage at the corner of the street. Samuel found himself whispering, I remember this night. Yes, Nathan said softly, the night your mother taught you the joy of giving. You spent hours with Mrs. Westfield reading stories and singing carols. You gave her your favorite toy soldier because she said it reminded her of her late husband. Samuel swallowed hard. I forgot about that. You once had a heart that overflowed, Nathan said, but over the years, pain and disappointment buried its glow. Samuel closed his eyes, shaken. Why show me this? So you can see what you lost, Nathan said, and know that it can be found again. Before Samuel could reply, the street blurred. Lights dimmed, Nathan's form began to fade. My time with you ends, Nathan said, but tonight you will have another guide. Wait, another? Samuel stepped toward him, but Nathan was gone, and Samuel stood alone. Chapter 3, The Second Visit. Samuel awoke with a start in his office chair. His heart pounded. The building was silent. A dream, he whispered. It must have been a dream. But the warmth in the room, the scent of pine lingering, none of it felt like a dream. Suddenly, a gust of icy wind swept through the office. The lamp flickered. Samuel turned to the window and gasped. A woman hovered just outside, though the glass was closed. She wore a robe woven with threads of silver and gold, snowflakes swirling around her like a crown. The window swung open without a sound.
Samuel Hart, she said, her voice clear as winter air. I am Miriam. Come, I am the guide of the Christmas that is.
Samuel staggered back. I'm not going anywhere with you.
But Miriam reached out her hand, and a gentle force surrounded him. Not coercive, but inviting. Warmth filled his chest, and he found himself stepping forward. The world shifted once more. They now stood in the community center down the street, bright, bustling, and filled with laughter. Tables were arranged with foods, coats, and wrapped gifts. Volunteers hurried about, serving families in need.
Samuel stared in wonder.
This, Miriam said, is happening right now.
He saw Leah, his assistant, laughing as she handed a warm coat to a little girl. Another volunteer knelt to help a boy choose a toy. Children ran across the room with paper crafts, their faces glowing. Samuel's breath caught. I didn't know it was this large or this beautiful.
You never came to see, Miriam replied.
Then Samuel saw Leah step aside to speak to a few volunteers.
He's hurting, Leah said softly. Mr. Hart pretends he's fine, but Christmas is hard for him. Pray for him. Okay, he needs joy again.
Samuel felt a sting of shame. She cares that much?
Compassion grows where the heart remains open, Miriam said.
Across the room, a frail, elderly man sat alone at a table. A young couple placed a warm meal in front of him. God bless you, the man whispered.
Miriam spoke quietly. Pain exists in the present, Samuel, but so does grace. So does community, and so does the chance to begin again.
He swallowed. That man reminds me of who I might become.
Yes, she said simply, or who you might help.
The scene shimmered.
You have one more guide tonight, Miriam said. Listen well.
and she vanished like snow into the sunlight. Chapter 4. The Final Visit. Darkness fell around Samuel, not frightening darkness, just the absence of light. A man approached, older than the others, his face lined with sorrow, his eyes deep as oceans. His robe was dark, as though woven with shadows of years yet to come. "I am Eldrick," he said, "guide of the Christmas that may be." Samuel's heart tightened. "What do you mean, may?" "The future is shaped by choices," Eldrick said. "Choices you still have time to change." He gestured and the darkness parted. They stood in a small, poorly kept apartment. Papers filled the table, unpaid bills, scattered notices. A single lamp flickered weakly. A man sat alone at the table. Samuel gasped. It was him, but older, tired, lonely. His once sharp eyes now dull, his hair disheveled. He ate a simple bowl of soup, the steam rising into the cold air. "No," Samuel whispered, "this can't be me." The older Samuel glanced around the room, but there was no one to talk to, no one to greet, no one to visit. He lifted a small picture frame. It was Claire. Dust lined the edges. Samuel watched in horror. "I never remarried, never connected, never opened my heart again." "Because you chose isolation over healing," Eldrick said. "Work over community, logic over love." The older Samuel set the frame down and sighed deeply, pressing his face into his hands. Christmas music played faintly from a small radio, a lonely melody with no audience. "Stop," Samuel said, his voice cracking. "Please stop." "This future is not punishment," Eldrick said gently. "It is the harvest of seeds sown in loneliness." Tears filled Samuel's eyes. "I don't want this. I don't want to die alone." "Then change," Eldrick said. "Change now, while the clock still favors you." The apartment faded. Samuel felt himself falling, then landing back in his office chair. The clock struck 3. Chapter 5. Morning Light. Samuel awoke with a gasp. Sunlight streamed in through the blinds. Birds chirped outside. It was Christmas Eve. His heart raced, but in a new way. Alive, awake, and open. He stood, grabbed his coat, and rushed outside with urgency he hadn't felt in years. The streets glowed with the morning light. He jogged to the community center. The doors were open, volunteers bustling about inside.
"Mr. Hart?" Leah blinked in surprise. "You're here?"
Samuel smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in a long while. "Well, I'd like to help, if you'll have me."
Leah's face lit up. "Of course."
Samuel spent the entire day serving, carrying boxes, washing dishes, handing out toys, listening to the people's stories. Children laughed with him. Volunteers welcomed him warmly. He felt alive. Later that afternoon, he sat beside the elderly man that he had seen the night before. "Merry Christmas," Samuel said. The man smiled. "Merry Christmas to you, son." That evening, as Samuel walked home, snow began to fall again, soft, peaceful, like the beginning of something new. When he reached his house, he paused. For the first time in years, he wanted companionship. He wanted to open the door to someone, not just memories. He pulled out his phone and he called Leah. "Are you spending Christmas with the family?" he asked.
"We're having a small gathering tonight," she said. "You're welcome to join us."
Samuel breathed in the crisp air. "I'd love that."
"And Mr. Hart," Leah added warmly, "Claire would be proud of you."
He wiped a tear. "Thank you." As he walked, he felt the weight of the past lift, the hope of the present strengthen, and the promise of the future unfold. And though he did not see them, Somewhere in the falling snow, 3 figures watched with quiet joy: Nathan, Miriam, and Eldrick, all fading into the night, their mission complete. Samuel whispered into the winter air, "Thank you for finding me." And Christmas found him indeed, not in lights or gifts, but in healing, community, and a heart finally open to grace again. Merry Christmas to you all from Marriage, Life, and More.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.